Now talk about the gut here. So processed food, sugar in the gut. If you're not getting the right foods, your immune system's down. So kids, one of the things about kids going back to school, not only do they go be around a bunch of other kids with, that have been exposed to other things, but also they go and they tend to eat the school lunch. They tend to be around candy. They tend to have these different things to get up earlier in the morning, so they're getting less sleep. So think about why would their immune system be weakened? Normal nutrition improves your immune system. Over a period of time, nutrition makes a huge difference. So digestive problems, chronic colds, all these things. Here's the one thing that I'll tell you about. If you're already getting adjusted and you're still dealing with one of two things, either acid reflux or, worse yet for many people, they get bloated when they eat healthy food. Now, I would bet statistically a huge percentage of the room, not huge, maybe 10 to 20% of this room, if you eat a really healthy salad or if you eat a really healthy meal, you actually will feel bloating in your stomach. What that is, that's a bacterial imbalance in your digestive tract. So what can happen over time is when you take, first of all, if you take an antibiotic, it doesn't just kill your sinus infection or it doesn't just kill your cold, it kills your actively dividing bacteria in your body. Well, one of the spots with the most actively dividing bacteria is your stomach, small and large intestine. And so whether it's that you took an antibiotic, when you kill some of that bacteria, if you never put the healthy bacteria back in, bad bacteria overgrows and it doesn't help your body digest. That's what happens. Another thing that can happen is, let's say you've never even taken an antibiotic. Well, in food, in meat specifically, roughly 70% of all antibiotics consumed in America are not consumed directly by humans, but indirectly in the meat that is raised. So in chicken, in pork, in cattle, that's fed because they're in smaller cages or smaller pens, and so they're given antibiotics routinely, not if they're sick, but they're given. And so that excess antibiotic is stored in their meat, and then what do we eat? We eat their meat. So we get steroids and we get antibiotics from anything that's not organic. So whether you're eating all organic or not, if you're not eating organic, you're actually consuming antibiotics every single time you eat non-organic meat. Now it's small amounts, but small amounts over time, inevitably what it's going to do to your digestive tract if you're not replacing it. And so bloating or acid reflux, if the bacteria gets off in your stomach, it can cause when your body releases acid to digest, that's what can cause ulcers, that's what can damage the lining of your stomach. There are certain bacteria that line your stomach that keep the acid from damaging your stomach lining. The same is true in the small intestine and the large intestine. So the reason that people bloat when they eat healthy is that their stomach won't be able to digest the live healthy food fast enough, so it goes into the small intestine. The small intestine only partially digests it, and it goes into your large intestine, and your large intestine digests by what's called fermentation, which means it uses the bacteria to break it down, and the offshot is gas. And that gas gives you gas, which is also created by bloating before you have it. So the way that if you're eating healthy, one way is probiotics. So again, if you're taking vitamin D or if you're taking our vitamin D, you're already getting 10 billion probiotics every day, which is a good maintenance amount. For instance, if you take an antibiotic, summer, you got a cold, you had to, whatever happened, the normal amount to heal that digestive tract, or to heal your stomach, is between 50 and 100 billion every day for about a month. So if you do that, what you want to do is a maintenance schedule where you take probiotics after to heal it. But what you're seeing up there, that Max GI, this is very different than the vitamins that I believe every person essentially should be on at least a multivitamin. Most should be on vitamin D, and some should be on an omega every single day. This is not a vitamin that you take all the time. This is for those people that have one of two things, either that bloating, or that have had acid reflux that have already been adjusted and it hasn't healed their stomach enough to fully get rid of it. Then it indicates a bacteria imbalance. And so Max GI is a gut cleanse. You get 2 bottles, you take it for 2 months. It cleans out your system. It kills off the bad bacteria using essential oils and lysozymes, and then it realigns with the good bacteria. So now you have an actively functioning, fully working digestive tract. Now, autoimmune. So we talked about the immune system. So what does autoimmune mean? It means your body's attacking itself. So autoimmune conditions, ulcerative colitis, rheumatoid arthritis, things that it's your body attacking its own joints, it's attacking its own digestive system, it's not working properly. Essentially every single one of those has a very large link to high amounts of inflammation in your body for that area. Now to stick with the gut or the digestive tract, leaky gut, which creates food intolerance, creates different things. One really easy example to give of this is milk specifically. So not all milk, but especially there's still people that want to get 2% or 1% or skim milk or whatever. When we talked about having holes in your digestive system, holes in your gut, milk is one of those things where the more it's been homogenized, the more it's been broken up, and the more it's been separated into these smaller fats, the more they absorb whether your body wants them to or not. So dairy itself isn't necessarily bad for somebody who doesn't have to be, but if you mess with it, if you process it, if you heat it, if you chop it up, chop those fats up, it takes what would be this healthy, big, long fat that your body can decide to digest or not digest and chops them into these little tiny pieces, and that's what absorbs into your gut whether you want it to or not. And that's when people have a dairy intolerance. That's when people have these different issues, is that their gut is digesting these things poorly in some way, shape, or form. Now, that's a pretty simplistic view. There's a lot to the leaky gut, but then, for people that do have a dairy intolerance or just feel inflamed or have autoimmune conditions, that would be one thing that you may either want to consider switching to almond milk or coconut milk or something like that. Another option, if you do like dairy, is still to eat, let's say, eat raw cheese, because you can get grass-fed, raw, full-fat cheese, which most people's bodies absorb great, but yet they may feel milk or dairy intolerant when they drink just a regular glass of milk, especially if it's 2% or 1% or skim. And that's why. It's because it's leaking through your digestive system. Your body's natural immune system cannot fight it the way that it should. So that would be for those for the people that are dairy lovers. If you're going to drink milk, what you want is the organic whole, and then it says prairie grazed or grass fed. It says it right on the top of the container. Otherwise, the using coconut or almond is the two best milk alternatives currently. Sugar. How many people are surprised sugar's not good for them? It's bad for your immune system. There's only one slide because I think we talk about it every talk, so we're not talking about it very much. But I thought this was interesting. We actually, my wife and I had a couple over this weekend for a barbecue, and her husband he's an anesthesiologist, medical doctor, and they're very, I would say, enlightened, I guess. They eat very similar to how we do. We have very, very, very similar views on most things related to health. But what I thought was interesting is she was talking about sugar and cancer, and she said, one of the reasons that oncologists recommend people eat sugar is because sugar stimulates your appetite. If chemotherapy knocks out your appetite, sugar stimulates your appetite. But what I thought is the biggest difference is the difference in mindset. So why is that person appetite stimulated? It's for one of two reasons. Number one, you're feeding the cancer, so the cancer cells engulf the sugar and want more, so it creates more of a hunger. Or secondly, your body releases this insulin, which creates hunger, but also because it's a simple sugar and you've got no nutrition, your body is hungrier because it needs some nutrition to actually heal and function better. So it says, feed me more, there must be food here, but this food gives me nothing. So whichever one it is, it's not very positive, yet the mindset is, well, to put weight on, to be able to fight the negative effects or the side effects, put weight on and consume sugar to stimulate your appetite. Isn't that the same thought, but different ways to think about it? So all this is more about mindset. For those of you that it's your first time here, the example that we give most often is PET scans. So PET scans the technology was originally developed in the 30s. It won a Nobel Peace Prize. And if you don't know much about a PET scan, you drink this dye, it's radioactive. It's actually radioactive sugar, and because cancer cells eat sugar 8 times faster than the rest of your body, if you put a radioactive sugar in there, you'll glow wherever the cancer is, because the cancer eats more sugar than everywhere else. And so when they do the PET scan, then you glow where the cancer is. That's how they test if metastatic cancer has spread. So it shows how bad sugar is for your body, knocks your immune system down. And looking at this, the number one sugar that I think people that like to ignore is bread. Bread, rice, and pasta. It's hard because what does simple sugar release? Dopamine and serotonin, depending on where you're at. So but it's for 20 seconds on average, 20 seconds, which is why if somebody's, let's say, depression eating, they typically eat it because they're getting these little bursts, but they last 20 seconds each. So think about how often you would have to consume that to get the response. But especially breads and grains are the spot that a lot of people don't look at. Or they'll say, I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm going to Subway. Now Subway has salads, but it's typically not why they're there. So you don't really consider that. That's the spot besides where you're eating sugar. Also, the FDA, Dr. Kyle's our research guy. I don't know if you guys think he's the one who always reads the studies. The FDA just changed the thing that they're going to put not just the grams of sugar, but what percent that is of how much sugar you should consume in a day. One Coke is 160% of the simple sugar you should consume in a day. One Coke. And the scary part is people will then switch to diet, which I think the majority, if not all the people in this room know is actually worse for you. Somebody else, actually it was Don, I saw him in here. So Don brought me a study today that showed the difference. It was a study on different types of fats. So canola oil, olive oil, and coconut oil, and it showed that specifically coconut oil, consuming coconut oil with the same amount of calories showed the least weight gain in mice. So you eat the same amount of calories, yet eating the right type of fat causes less weight gain because the body can use more of that. Now again, that's a mouse study. But feeding your body that either weakens or strengthens you, think about when you are sick. What do a lot of people consume? Right? It's almost that bread, chicken soup, noodles, toast, crackers, 7-Up. What are all those incredibly high-end? Sugar. Now here's the balance point. You need some level of calories, right? You need something to go in your system, so that's where you have to make the deciding factor. But all those things to drink 7-Up for the carbonation for your stomach, you're putting a whole bunch of sugar in your body, which actually weakens your immune system and causes you to be sick longer. Taking Tylenol or Dayquil or something to lower your fever causes you to be sick longer. Eating toast for most meals causes you to be sick longer. In fact, Dr. Ben, who if you've ever watched him on those videos, that short redheaded guy that's way too cut to be, I think he's 48 or something. But if you look at Dr. Ben, he always says the way that if he ever even feels slightly run down, he just completely cuts carbs out of his diet and he exercises. Because cutting the carbs out stops his body's ability from lowering, and then exercising raises his natural body temperature, so it works like a fever, and it kills off whatever is fighting faster, and then he's sick in an even shorter amount of time. And of course, 30 gets adjusted, boosts his immune system. But what you're putting in makes a huge difference, and a lot of times we don't think about that. But that carb, the high carbs, when we're not feeling well, mentally, physically, whatever it is, weakens our immune system. So reducing stress, we already talked about. Rebalancing the nervous system, we talked about at length. Replacing sugar and processed foods. So that's the other thing, processed foods. The things that we didn't talk about were chemicals very much. Chemicals, think about this, your body only has a certain amount of energy, roughly, in any given day. If you're putting a bunch of chemicals in it, it has to spend a huge amount of energy to detox you, to keep you alive, and it has less energy for doing other things. In fact, as far as the rating system, the number one thing your body uses energy for is movement, then digestion, and then everything else. So digestion is the second most energy-intensive thing that people do. It's why you hear people talk about when they go on juice cleanses, that they have more energy. If you've ever done the advanced eating plan where you eat healthier for 2 weeks to a month, you'll notice you start, after a few days or a week, you start to need less sleep, you have more energy. Again, you're not using as much energy to digest, and therefore you have more energy to do other things. Your body doesn't require as much for healing. Why do you sleep less? Because you heal when you sleep. So you don't need as much sleep because you're functioning better. Regular exercise. So that was the biggest thing that I wanted to mention about exercise. Is exercise creates a healthy artificial fever, essentially. When you exercise hard, when you raise your body temperature, it naturally kills viruses and bacteria that are circling through your body. Also, for those people, I've mentioned a couple of things about cancer tonight. Did you know that every person in this room has cancer at some level? And I see a lot of heads nodding. I'm glad to see that. We're on the same page. 500 to 10,000 cancer cells are in every single person at any given moment in their life. And so what happens is your body's replicating cells. And unfortunately, as you're replicating trillions of cells every year, you create cancer cells periodically. And so when you develop cancer, it's when your body's immune system can either no longer recognize or your immune system's not strong enough to kill that off, to kill it off. And so the stronger your immune system, the better your body can actually fight that. But the reason I'm mentioning it right now is they've actually shown that having a fever lowers your risk of developing cancer over time, because that virus that it's killing, it also kills off cancer cells better. Exercising also raises your body temperature, so what's it do? Same thing. It's significantly decreasing the risk of letting cancer spread or grow. Reducing toxins. Food, there's toxins, but the other areas that are toxins, of course, are things like cleaning products, what you wash your clothes in, what you wash your dishes in, what you put on your yard, what you breathe in if you live near a farm or something like that. All these things are areas. So toxins are the only thing that we can't fully control. We just can't. There's too many variables. We can't control if they clean this carpet with unhealthy cleaner and you're breathing it and you just don't smell it as much because they aired it out. So you can't fully control it. You can control a lot of it. You control what you consume in your food. But most people, if not all people, should detox in some way, shape, or form every single year. Whether you detox through food, whether you detox through supplements. But that's really a huge thing. Now, a couple of examples here. Actually, I had to borrow these from a friend of mine and a colleague. His name's Dr. Ashley Oshner. He's part of the Kids Initiative. But these are two different sets of x-rays. And the example is, and the reason I had to borrow his is because really our clinic hasn't been open long enough that we have a lot of these first cases. I'll tell you, but this is for those of you that have ever had your kids checked or have ever thought about that, this is a picture of a little girl. She's 8 on the picture on the left, and you can see she's just starting to develop those little S curves. Everybody see that? Well, her mom continued to get adjusted, but they waited for their kids, and this is her x-ray 6 years later. See the second one? So they were talking about rods. She had. Here's the other thing. One other example I'll tell you. It's a girl named Jordan. We x-rayed her when she was 17, and she had just done that bend over test. She'd just been checked, and they said there was a mild curvature. And when we x-rayed her spine, it was a 55-degree lumbar scoliosis. 55-degree curve. Her pain was 1 out of 10. She was furious that her parents were making her get x-rayed. I'll tell you, she wasn't really pleased because she was 17. She wasn't into it. She wasn't hurting. But they checked everybody in their family, and when they checked her, they saw that, and positively or negatively, by the time that we started to adjust her, we got enough correction that she only had to have 5 bones fused. So she had back surgery. She had 5 bones fused in the middle of her back. But they wanted to, when they first checked it, they wanted to do her whole spine. And so getting adjusted over the course of that period of time, at least stopped it to that point. But they elected to have the surgery. And she thinks she's getting released in a couple weeks, and she's going to be able to start getting adjusted again all around where she had her surgery. But also, interestingly enough, after they saw that, they x-rayed their 10-year-old daughter, who looked a lot like that. But instead of waiting, she started to get adjusted and has a perfectly straight spine. Perfect. So prevented. The next is there. The second one is just like the second girl, Tegan. this is a little boy, you can see there was his first x-ray. Started to get adjusted, everybody see the difference. So again, it's one of those things where it's my belief at least everybody should have an assessment. Not everybody has to get adjusted if they don't want to, but at least they should have an assessment. 5 types of foods or things that can radically improve your immune system. You get vitamin D from the sun. You can also get vitamin D from mushrooms. You can get vitamin D in small doses from certain other fruits and vegetables. But like we talked about, vitamin D is essential for hormones. Vitamin D and vitamin C are the 2 vitamins most linked to your immune system. Now, vitamin C is more preventative. Vitamin D is preventative, but it also, if you, let's say you get the flu, you get something, you can take higher doses of vitamin D. It can actually kill off the virus or the bacteria faster. So there are certain things you can do when you're sick to fight that off. The next one is fermented foods. Why are fermented foods good for your digestive system, your immune system? pH balance and probiotics. So fermented foods are high. Many fermented foods like sauerkraut, things like that are good in probiotics. Another thing that's good for probiotics are raw vegetables. So when you're eating raw vegetables that are unsteamed or uncooked, probiotics are great for you. Also, the thing about some of these is they help you digest easier. 2 things that have specific, or really 3 actually, that have specific antibacterial and antiviral properties are onions and garlic. So you may know a few old remedies or old home remedies that you ate garlic raw or you did something. Those are, they have immune system properties, so it's more of a natural medicine. Also coconut oil, when you put coconut oil on your skin or when you consume it, it actually has a small amount of antiviral property in it, so cooking coconut oil is good for your immune system. Also, strangely enough, coconut oil is an SPF 4, so for like small amount of sunblock and that sort of thing. It has more good things than a lot of people realize. Lastly, fresh organic fruits and vegetables, again, that helps your bodies. It's less stress on your digestive system. It's great for nutrients, and it helps your body fight and strengthen. All right, so I have a special treat for you. This video, there's no noise, there's no sound, but it's only 39 seconds long, so I think you'll be able to hold your attention. But if you can read on there, it says the video, human granulocytes kill cervical cancer cells. So this is actually a slide of it's an actively happening thing. It's about 7 years old, this video, but it shows the body's immune system attacking cancer cells and killing them, keeping you healthier. Also, while they're passing this around, our next event is Shop with the Doc. And what Shop with the Doc is when we go around the grocery store, show you where to pick things out, show you where some of the fermented foods are, where to buy the certain foods, where to buy the right kinds of meats, the right kinds of dairies, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to come, it's 3 weeks from today, or at 7 p.m. or the following Wednesday at 11 a.m. Or if you want a refresher, feel free to come. So this is the Dr. Kyle will play this. This is the video right here.
How old did you say this was?
It was posted on YouTube about 7 years ago.
7.
Every person has that going on right now, at some level. Maybe not of cervical cancer, of course, but of cancer. Your body's fighting it as we speak, as you sit here. And again, everybody's just fighting at a different level based on how strong your immune system is. It's your body's ability to catch, fight, and kill faster and faster. So, Shop with the Doc's the next event. Like I said, 3 weeks. Max T3, for those of you that have been saying you were going to come to Max T3 on Wednesday nights, we're only guaranteeing it for about another month to 6 weeks, so you better stop telling us you're going to come and show up. Wednesday nights at 7. Also, once a month, we have it on Saturday morning, and the 22nd of August, which is a little over 2 weeks from now, 7:45 a.m. Great way to learn how to work out in 12 minutes, boost your immune system, be healthier, lose weight, whatever you're looking to do. Put on by Lori, Dr. James, and Stephanie. Now, checklist for today. So to finish, wherever you're looking to do, but reduce stress. Continue to maintain your adjustments if you're a guest here today, or if you're thinking about your children or grandchildren, or whoever you might be thinking of. Remember to schedule an appointment. The first appointment, including the exam, the x-rays, anything somebody would need, is $25. $25, all inclusive. You can check it out, share it with a friend. Anybody that's already been coming to a million of these talks, you notice that we always put the gift certificates on there because we all have somebody who could benefit. And again, you just give them the option. Next thing, so reduce sugar, eat healthier foods, and vitamin D. So vitamin D, a lot of people I hear say in the summer that they don't know if they should take vitamin D because they get outside. So here's how you know if you should take vitamin D. It's one of two things. One, the best is a blood test, right? So you may know this already. If your vitamin D level in your blood is not over 60, you should still take vitamin D in the summer because it works like a gas tank. The more you get absorbed into your body over time, the better you're going to be in the winter when you're typically not outside as much. So if your blood test shows under 60, you should still supplement with vitamin D in the summer. If not, you maybe only need to supplement in the winter. And the time, or to know if you're getting the right vitamin D, is typically midday sun, so between about 11 and 3, but really getting sun on a daily basis to absorb vitamin D consistently. So if you work in an office, if you work inside consistently, you may need to supplement with vitamin D in the summer because working outside in the yard once a week is not enough to keep your vitamin D levels high. The other thing I get asked a lot is, can kids take vitamin D? Yes, they can, and because it's a fat-soluble vitamin, adults need about 5 to 10,000. 5,000 to maintain, 10,000 if you're trying to up your number. That's kind of the average. And then kids are a little under half of that. So for kids, if they can take pills, if you need the vitamin D, what you do is they take it every other day. So you can get kids vitamin D, or if they'll take the small pill, they just take it every other day, and that works just fine. Second thing, now talking about boosting your immune system. Huge thing for your immune system, the antioxidant glutathione. Glutathione is built by your liver. You can't supplement glutathione, you have to make it. The way you make glutathione is to either have the right precursors, which is things like cysteine and several other amino acids, or you give your body those building blocks. So 2 ways to give your body the building blocks. One easy way, and I know a lot of you already do it, is to take a morning smoothie. Have a fruit and vegetable smoothie in the morning. Put great nutrients in your body, healthy fats. But a good way to add healthy protein is to supplement with whey protein. Now, whey protein, we'll go over these very briefly. But whey protein, the essential things in whey protein, one, it has to be grass-fed. Because since it comes from a cow, if you're getting corn-fed, you're similar to red meat, it's going to be harder on your body. Second thing is called low heat processing. So, for instance, our whey protein is never heated over 105 degrees, which is a cow's natural body temperature. A lot of the proteins that you buy from GNC or other places are heated over 180 degrees, and just like milk, how usable is it if they heated it up and killed it? Right? Does that make sense? And then, they call it bioavailable whey, which means that the whey is the most usable for the body, which not only for the protein, for your building blocks, but also your liver actually will make more glutathione, so it helps you build your immune system by taking the right kind of supplement. The last thing, this is the very last slide for tonight, detox. So if you know you should detox, there's a couple ways to do it. First of all, if you're detoxing through food, the advanced plan. At the advanced plan, you're saying, what is that? Open your cruise ship book or the nutrition book and go to chapter 5. The advanced plan is laid out with a shopping list, with recipes, everything in there. If you've read the cruise ship book, you're looking for more recipes, maybe consider getting the nutrition book. It's got a lot more information. It's the green book. But detoxing, people are always asking for recommendations, and similar to vitamins, Detoxing is not like a multivitamin that you take every day. If you know you've never detoxed before, you need to detox, what you want to do is 2 to 3 rounds of this. It's a daily supplement, and you take it for 2 to 3 months, and then you either take it once a week, which would mean that you could last 7 months with a box, or you do it once to twice a year, because unfortunately we're just continually getting exposed to toxins. So that's how you detox. You need to detox. The cell and body detox is phenomenal. Again, builds your glutathione and detoxes you. And the last question, the question I always get in private, so we'll cover it now, is am I going to have to sit by the bathroom while I detox? The answer is no. This is not one of those detox where you're running to the bathroom. Typically, you just go to the bathroom about 1 more time per day as you're getting more of that toxicity out of your system. All right, if you have any personal questions, feel free to come up and talk to me, or come talk to Dr. Alex, or come talk to whoever you want to. But other than that, hope you have a great night, great rest of your summer, and we'll see you in the office very soon. Thank you.